Everyone who has been a member of this Joint Tax Board has been through this induction ceremony, including myself. And we believe that it's an avenue and a venue where we can exchange ideas and make sure that with a common vision, with a common understanding, as we group together, we'll be able to build capacity within the Joint Tax Board. The Joint Tax Board was developed to ensure uniformity and also provide an avenue for an exchange of experiences and ideas in the area of revenue generation. I can say that over the last few years, in terms of customer service, in terms of technology improvements, the Joint Tax Board has been quite efficient and helpful to not only exchange information, but to support state internal revenue services and of course the FIRS in meeting its target. This year, from all indications, I believe that members of the Joint Tax Board collectively would have achieved a record collection in revenue. We might say that that is very good, but we have to look at the necessity and the mandate that we've been given. At the AU, the Agenda 2063, which basically means that all African states and nations should be in a position to fund their respective economies. And to my mind, and I've often said it, although that was a political decision, in real sense, I don't think that the developed countries or any, in quotes, and rich nation will continue to carry the financial burden of Africa until 2063. The writing is clearly on the wall, and the Ghanaian president, in one of his discussions, was speaking about Africa beyond aid. And I think that is what we should be thinking about here. We've been given that mandate to ensure that we reach the full potential in terms of revenue generation in our respective states and also the Federation. But at the same time, being very mindful that we're here to serve the people. So we also have to improve on customer service. We have to improve on transparency and accountability. And that is the only way you will get higher levels of compliance by taxpayers.
The Executive Chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, Babatunde Fowler, he finds it easy and in the line of duty to speak about the relationship between the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, state tax authorities and local government tax departments. They all come together on the platform of the Joint Tax Board, JTB, and Fowler makes no bounds about referring to the JTB as an effective point of harmony between Nigeria's different tax concerns. Fowler is also the JTB chairman, an arrangement that gives him a virtual bird's eye view of the country's tax profile and disposition. And it is all good to think about if we recall the dilemma that taxpayers crossing state and local government boundaries had to put up with. Well, eventually, the JTB has virtually made potential conflict history by its prompt and effective intervention in an otherwise explosive situation. The workings of the relationship among members of the JTB, particularly in the area of jurisdiction, have been fine-tuned to introduce an obtrusive workflow. The relationship is prosecuted in such a way that field experience for taxpayers is no longer a situation where individuals are made to pay the same tax in different states or local governments in the country. First and foremost, the Joint Tax Board has the responsibility to ensure uniformity and harmonization of tax administration. It has addressed issues around multiplicity of taxes. A law called Approved List of Taxes and Levies is in operation, detailing what each tier of government should collect. A long-drawn convergence of interest and inevitable friction was resolved in the process. The mode of operation by the JTB has presented a case of tax authorities who, though not ignoring a mandatory source of income for governments across the country, also have fairness to the taxpayer as a top priority in their calculations. Business owners are known to have more than one company sometimes. The seeming haziness over which account to submit for tax in a situation where more than one company is operated by the individual or a group is no longer tenable. The Joint Tax Board is mandated to call for returns on each account regardless of individual or company preferences. Payment of tax is a requirement by law, and JTB has eased up the process of identifying taxable sources due to the BVN platform, which has yielded a pool of tens of millions of bank account owners. Coupled with this is the recent launch of the National Taxpayer Identification Number TIN registration system and Consolidated National Taxpayer Database. We recall its flag off by Vice President Yemi Oshibajo and the breath of fresh air it brought into tax administration in the country. It was an event the executive chairman of FIRS was the chief host of, supported by the executive secretary of the Joint Tax Board, Oseni Elama.
Tax revenue administration in the 21st century has evolved into a systematic and deliberate process that is underpinned by the availability of accurate and reliable data. It entails deliberate and strategic planning initiatives, well-informed and adequately equipped tax revenue managers who drive the process both on and off the field. This new reality drives the desire by the JTB to ensure that the identification of individuals and corporate bodies in Nigeria is achievable. It is not only important that these records are available, it is equally important that records are credible and reliable, and that they're accessible under secure environments, online, real-time. The role that data plays in today's world cannot be overemphasized. And for the revenue potentials of the country to be maximally harnessed, it is essential that credible and reliable data is available for use. Such records are also essential to facilitate the ease of doing business and for the nation to achieve its overreaching economic objectives in line with the economic recovery and growth plan. We are confident that this new system will add immense value to tax revenue administration in the country, not only in terms of processes and procedures, but in terms of efficiency and ensuring a coordinated and systematic approach towards managing revenue generation as well as tax information sharing between and among tax authorities both within and outside the country. This new system also provides immense benefits to taxpayers. The consolidated database, apart from providing a unique identity to taxpayers, also facilitates ease of compliance. It limits the incidence of double taxation and is a prerequisite for a number of transactions, such as sale and purchase of immovable property, registration of vehicles, applications for plots of land, import and export licenses, registration as a contractor, entry visas, among others. Ultimately, the system promotes the ease of doing business for both individual and corporate bodies.
The world, as I say, is constantly changing, and along with it, accepted ways of doing practically everything, including the management of economic and financial systems. As international boundaries dissolve under the reality of a globalizing world, and as financial and economic activities increasingly transcend geographical limitations, tax administration itself must of necessity continually adapt. Tax administration is built around data. Without credible and comprehensive data, an efficient tax system would simply be impossible. And to function optimally, tax systems have to be aware of the important statistics, the important data, the numbers of eligible individuals, the volumes of business, volumes of economic activities, the designs and strategies to take advantage of this available data are also crucial. And this is where the necessity for a proper identification of eligible taxpayers, whether they be individuals or corporate entities, comes in. A tax identification number is simply a vital instrument for uniquely identifying as well as registering new taxpayers and to bring them into the tax bracket. I thought the drama team did an excellent job of explaining just how important this is for every type of business, whether it is Chief's business or Alaji's business or Igwe's business, whichever business, every one of them must come into that tax bracket, and it makes life so much easier for everybody who is doing business, whether it's local or international. It gives the managers also of the national tax administration systems the capacity to conveniently and efficiently access and collect information from multiple sources. It forms the basis for projecting future revenues and for making realistic expenditure plans for governments. So the new TIN registration system will utilize existing data from a variety of authorized identity management agencies and help build a database that is reliable and verifiable. And just to elaborate a little more on that, at the moment we have data from corporate affairs, from the identity management systems, even from telcos, from telecommunications companies. All of that data is relevant for tax purposes. So what this does is that it brings all that data together in one particular system, which is our tax identification number. Every one of that data is now coordinated in one. So the ultimate outcome is increased revenues for government and, of course, the ease of doing business for practically every businessman or woman who must now be registered and who must now have an identification number. And this, of course, as you know, helps in every way to fund investments, social investments, human capital development, and more. I'm pleased to note that this new initiative aligns fully with the federal government's strategic objectives as contained in our Economic Recovery and Growth Plan and all of the other documents which are meant to power along Nigeria's economic development. Mention must also be made of how this new TIN system supports our ease of doing business. I think we could emphasize this a bit more. The increased automation of tax systems simply frees up room for businesses small and large to thrive, away from the strictures of the unnecessary bureaucracy and all that. And I think we heard also from the drama system how this reduces the possibilities of discretion and the possibilities of petty corruption, people asking for money here and there. An easier operating environment will have positive implications for corporate bottom lines as well, and a positive impact on tax revenues. I think by all of this, what we seek to achieve is really to attract business, not just international business, even more importantly, local business. It is local investments that develop an economy the most. And if it's easy for the local person to do business, it becomes more attractive even for international businesses to come into the country.
Have you heard of the new Joint Tax Board TIN? Here's what you need to know. The JTB TIN is designed to subsequently replace the current TIN and is already in use within the FIRS and several other states in Nigeria. The major difference is that the JTB TIN has 10 digits and it is uniform and general across Nigeria. It is unique to every registered taxpayer in Nigeria and not limited to the FIRS taxpayers alone. The JTB TIN is currently being issued out at the point of registration and also updated by FIRS and the states, which have so far adopted it. Every taxpayer in Nigeria will ultimately be required to possess and use only the JTB TIN. The new TIN, the Joint Tax Board TIN, JTB TIN. Remember, obtaining your TIN is free.
That launch has gone regional now, with a repeat of the exercise for the Southwest region, where the executive chairman of FIRS and chairman of JTB, Babatunde Fowler, expressed his appreciation of the giant strides the region has made to broaden the tax base and support revenue for development. He noted the good gesture by the federal government by remitting to the states revenues that had accrued to them. As one good turn deserves another, Fowler requested the states to power up efforts at garnering more revenue so as to plug holes in the financing of needed projects across the country. Incidentally, the new online avenues to tax administration have led to recognition of Nigeria's tax efforts, even from outside the country.
The payment by the federal government of Nigeria of all outstanding pay tax liabilities owed by federal MDAs to states from 2002 to 2016, totaling 135.8 billion, with a total of 33.13 billion paid to states in the Southwest geopolitical zone. We hope that this will encourage state governments to also promptly remit all withholding taxes and VAT due to the Federation accounts. A positive movement during the same period by Nigeria, up 25 points in the tax administration section of the World Bank Ease of Doing Business. It is expected that the country would further move up the rankings by the time the review for the 2019 is published. Today's event has brought together stakeholders from diverse sectors and segments of the Southwest geopolitical zone, all with one desire: to drive the financial and economic regeneration of the region in particular, and Nigeria in general, into that one that is viable, sustainable, and inclusive. We are pleased to state that the new national tin registration system strongly tie in with this desire, and together we shall be laying a strong foundation to ensure adequate funding for government at all tiers of government and beyond aid, grants, and borrowing.
Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu had applauded the JTB innovations towards a transparent and easy tax administration when the TIN and consolidated database was launched in the Southwest.
The National TIN Registration System is a welcome addition to the state of reform focused on making identity management and tax administration in Nigeria to the next level. It is generally agreed that Nigerian tax revenue continue to underperform their actual potentials. In fact, our tax to GDP ratio is one of the lowest in the world, and here it's about 7%. It is considerably low that even in standards similar to other emerging economies, it's really, really very low. It is therefore generally agreed that there is still a lot of room for improvement, and so this laudable initiative we're flagging off today will go a long way towards bridging this deficit by capturing eligible taxpayers within the tax net.
That, of course, is at the core of efforts by the Joint Tax Board to get the maximum number of persons on board the tax revenue bandwagon and help governments meet the people's expectations on development. When the flag-off happened in the North Central region, the Executive Secretary of the JTB highlighted the huge advantages of the TIN regime and the rich database it has provided.
The new TIN registration system and its consolidated database of individual and corporate taxpayers has been designed to form the foundation upon which the nation's automated tax administration system is built. This new system is a web-based solution that offers access to authorized users to initiate TIN requests from the comfort of their homes or offices on real-time online, to also verify tax status and print their TIN certificate. It is a transparent system that assures timely and accurate collection and recording of basic identification data. It also permits the tax authorities and administrators to understand its taxpayers' base for effective revenue projections and other planning activities.
At that event in Ilorin, Kwara State, Elama further said that the new system reduced the burden of double registration and enhanced the ease of doing business and paying tax. Elama's speech at such events is usually a forerunner to remarks by the JTB chairman, Babatunde Fowler himself. His innovative leadership had earlier been applauded by an elated JTB executive secretary. And as Fowler lauded the praiseworthy tax administration by Kwara Inland Revenue Service, IRS, and some other states in the North Central region, he told the JTB line, which cherishes what the new online taxation products have brought into tax administration.
While the states within the region aspire to consolidate on reforms and break new grounds, the new system can support such efforts by consolidating on the efficiency and effectiveness of their respective tax administration processes. This new reality drives the desire by the JTB to ensure that the identification of individuals and corporate bodies for tax purposes in Nigeria is achievable. It is not only important that these records are available, it is equally important that the records are credible and reliable, and that they are accessible under a secure environment, online, real-time.
As appreciation of the JTB supported effort came from Government House Ilorin, Deputy Governor Kayode Alabi presented an address at the ceremony on behalf of Kwara State Governor Abdul Rahman Abdul Razak. The governor was happy that his state was hosting the event.
As we all know, tax payments is integral to the growth and development of every economy, and it must be embraced by every working person who wants to see the change we all desire. We are very optimistic that this launch of the National Taxpayer Identification Number (TIN) registration system and consolidated National Taxpayers Database will indeed increase the coverage of taxpayers, simplify tax process across the North Central region, and encourage accountability and development. I must commend the effort of the Executive Chairman, Federal Inland Revenue, Mr. Babatunde Fowler, and his team for this great initiative, and can only hope that this will bring about the desired results. To all internal revenue service chairmen, we must ensure that the drive to improve the tax system is given the top priority, and it's also key that we publicize the importance of having a tax identification number (TIN) in order for us to have a consolidated database.
The inevitability of revenue from taxation is underscored by the civic responsibility it is. No one has the option of non-compliance. Where one decides to evade tax so that the money doesn't go to develop another district, it could actually amount to inaccuracy of development assessment, since those in already developed areas are probably enjoying the fruits of other taxpayers' efforts. The spread of the message of easy and transparent taxation by the Joint Tax Board is gaining momentum day in, day out. Fowler leads a team of men and women with a noble national purpose, whether at the Joint Tax Board or the Federal Inland Revenue Service. It's good luck to men and women on a noble national assignment.
Just like the gentleman that came to do what we call outro did say, with the JTB team that we're launching today, it gives us an assurance of a better Nigeria. This is one acronym myself and some other Nigerians have been propagating for over 30 years on television. The path towards a greater Nigeria. It gladdens my heart to say that we have one of our leading government parastatals, FIRS, and of course JTB, putting heads together to ensure that indeed, in reality, not just in words, that we evolve a better Nigeria.